Okay, we're live.
We're live.
Hi everyone. We're going
Hello.
live every week at the moment. We're doing like a little challenge for our Quantum Business Facebook group where we're going to be talking about everything, how to link together your spirituality, your business, your identity to start quantum leaping in your business. So we're having a wonderful collaboration that we're very excited about, and we're launching next month. And we've got a challenge that's starting on the welcome party is on the 10th of November, and we go live on the 11th. So drop us a DM or leave a message if you're interested in joining. But for anyone that doesn't know, I'm Kathy Gifford. So I'm like a mindset business coach. So I help people in heart-led businesses to step into the next level identity through lots of self-concept and mindset and belief work. And Katie, here you
Hi.
are.
So formerly did LinkedIn. That was my sort of primary thing, and pivoted slightly. So I'm covering more business strategy and often things business. Like now, I would put myself more on the mentorship than a coach. But yeah, I have been working with Kathy. So Kathy's been my coach for the past 2 years now. I think it's been about 2 years. So yeah, that's sort of where this collaboration came from, because while the business strategy is brilliant, like you need to have strategy because you need to be able to take action and have direction. But the mindset part is obviously so important. And not only is that like for mental strength, but then there is the manifestation and the quantum leaping and generally how you see yourself. So you're the identity and the frequency. And that's why sort of we came together on this, because that's your forte. And then my forte is more of the business strategy, marketing, action taking side in terms of what steps to take. So today we're going to focus more so. I've always said that the beginning part is the mindset. Like that's sort of the foundations. Like if I was like doing this as a tree, like the mindset and the identity stuff they're like the roots. And then you've got the strategy, which is more like the branches. And you need both of them in order for that tree to survive. But that's where it really starts. So, and I think a lot of people don't really understand about quantum leaping. As I didn't until earlier this year when we were talking about it, and then it just happened, and I was like, "What the hell? What's going on here?" Great, but yeah, it's one of those things that just like comes up in your face, and you're like, "Oh my god, this can really happen."
One of the things that's really important about the quantum leaping is it doesn't matter where you are in business. So it doesn't matter if you're just starting or if you're already at 5K months or 10K or 20K, like it doesn't really matter where you are. It's more like if you haven't done your identity work before, then probably maybe you'll build, sometimes you can look at it as you sometimes building your business like not on strong foundations. So that might mean that you have really up and down months, or you have a lot of fear and scarcity in the business, or you might feel like you're hustling and working quite hard. And usually they're signs that something's probably out of alignment in your own identity. So it doesn't really matter the stage you are. The good thing is that once you start the identity work, you can see quite quick changes, which I guess is where kind of the quantum leap name kind of comes from. So it's, if you're into manifestation world, then quantum leaping and collapse in time, that's just how do you get to your next goal in a quicker time using science-backed kind of emotional intelligence, and with a sprinkle of spirituality and universe in there. It's kind of like once you start the identity work, if you do it consistently for 6 to 8 weeks, science already shows us that that will get you on the path to quantum leaping. So that's kind of why we've put it together, because what we found is a lot of our clients, they have done quite a lot of strategy work before. So that, not everyone always knows their niche or the exact direction they're going in, but most people know they're skilled. They have a mission, they want to get their work out into the world, they're serving clients, they're having good transformations for their clients, and their business is growing and they have got clients, but it's not always growing at the speed that we want or necessarily going in the direction we want. Like sometimes you realize, oh, I haven't really liked the last few clients I've worked with, or I feel like I'd want to be on other platforms, that you can, things can feel a bit stuck. So we're kind of merging it together so that what we found from working with our clients, like I've worked with about 50 clients now, and Katie's worked with lots of clients. And what we found is that if you don't have your identity work as the foundation, you feel like you're just always working harder, but you're not
Yeah.
necessarily increasing the amount of money that you're seeing in the bank. And
Yes.
although, we're not totally focused on money, I am a money mindset coach as well. So we know that we need money to sort of launch our mission into the world, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think Katie's going to explain a little bit about her journey because she's gone from sort of having a few £100 months to probably 10x in that, um, in quite a small space of
Literally.
time.
Yeah.
So once you get the foundation identity in place and you've done something consistently for like the 6 to 8 weeks, that's when you can really feel the quantum shifting. It doesn't always take as long as that. It depends on your beliefs and where you are in the journey, like how embodied and empowered are you in what you sell as being the one thing that your customer needs? Like how deeply do you feel aligned to what you sell? So I'll let you tell a bit of your
Mhm.
journey for a couple of minutes because that's probably what a lot of people are feeling.
Cool. It's so funny because the way I work, so you're saying stuff and then I'm like, I need to say this, I need to say this, but I know I'm not going to remember it. So if you see me typing, I'm not like completely ignoring everyone, like living in my own world. I'm writing down the things that I want to say back
Remember.
before they just go into the ether, because anyone who has the same brain function as me, like in the way of their learning, will get this. So I would say like the most important things are, one, having clarity, like absolutely knowing who is it that you want to be, because so many people that I come across are like, oh yeah, like that would be nice, but they're not sort of set on it, or they don't like see themselves as being ever able to get there. So they're like, oh, this is nice, but they don't actually set it as a vision. It's almost like they can't say it out loud. So having that clarity, and I think a lot of people chase other people's results as well. Like they chase after other things. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And just to let everyone know, it didn't go well. So, and I think another part of it is the fact of when you start this work, it's for a lot of people, it's going to be sort of that cringe. Like it's sort of like, oh my God, like why would I say these things about myself, particularly if they're not necessarily true in your reality right now. And I think this is why a lot of people don't actually quantum leap, because they go, well, no, this is what's happening right now. Whereas obviously quantum leaping is looking into the future and embodying that futureness. I'm not sure if that's a word, but we're going to go with it. So they're the two like big bits. And I would say as well about, you've got to work out who you naturally are. Like, what is your natural blueprint as a person? And it's not about putting yourself into a box and being like, this is my label. So, for example, we've been there a year ago or a year and a half ago when I got my autistic ADHD diagnosis. And I did use that as an excuse for a long time to be like, I'm not doing this, or no, I can't do that because I can't focus on multiple things at once, even though I know that is the person I am. I've always been like that. Always wanted to focus on multiple things, have loads of different things going on. Otherwise, I get bored and I just tail off with stuff. And now I'm about to open a cafe. In the same month when I'm launching this collaboration with you, I've got so many things going on in my world, and I'm like, yes, I'm busy. And sometimes I can get to that point where I go, okay, maybe I've worked a little too much, or maybe I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed now, but I have the self-awareness to take myself out of that space. But you have to actually align with who you truly are. Like, not listen to those people saying you've got to have singular focus and focus on one thing at a time. While I do get that, because I agree with it in a lot of principles, you can have singular focus around multi-passions. And I am the epitome of that. But my story, I mean, when we first started working together, I was very much in the mindset of, I'm a big embarrassment. I'm a like massive failure. Been through a lot of businesses and they've never taken off. And I know now it's not because they were a bad business idea. It's because the actual foundation, the roots of it, I still didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I was an expert. I looked at myself so poorly. The business strategy, yeah, it wasn't amazing, because at that point in my life, I didn't know that much about business. I'd never had a business coach. I'd never done any learnings, but it's something that's changeable. It, like, you can learn that, as you can learn how to change your identity. But if you learn it and you don't embody it, then nothing's going to change. unfortunately. And the cafe is a really good one when it comes to quantum leaping, but also just my story overall and just showing how much can change when you do look at your identity and go, I wouldn't say this, but to the point of saying, actually, it's not embarrassing. Like, I am not embarrassing. I would use more positive phrases in regards to that of how I'd actually see myself. So I am unique. I am crazy, and people fucking love me for being a nutcase. And you know what? I love me for being a nutcase. Like, that is who I am. So yeah, like, I wrote this vision board, right? And it's so poorly done because on the back of it it's like my kids' drawings and everything. This is, I don't know if you can see it. This is all it was, right? Cutouts from the Argos catalogue, the Argos Christmas catalogue, because obviously they don't do their catalogue anymore. On there, obviously, it was a kid's toy. I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't. Get in my head, and then you might be able to see it.
No,
is it?
Just
No.
tell us.
Damn you!
Basically, you need a new one. That's the outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Now,
I made this vision board before we started working together, but I've never achieved anything off it until this year, and I've achieved 4 things off it, and it's not even the end of the year yet. And that's the capability of when you change your mindset and your identity towards stuff. So you are embodying that future self of you. Then it just come. Like the cafe, it was a month. We made the decision. Oh, actually, yeah, we can do this. It's time now. The energy has shifted. Both me and my partner, we were in agreement about this. In a month, we'd got the cafe. like it's just mental. It's mental what can change. And in terms of business, at the end of last year, I decided enough was enough. I'm getting 4 clients. I had 4 clients in 3 months. So, and this is what people talk about with marketing. Oh, it takes 3 to 6 months. No, those people were brand new into my network, and they started working with me. And then I got an idea for something that I wanted to start doing. It was 2 weeks and it was set up. I was selling it out and it sold out for 3 months. So
I think that's one of the reasons that we've created like the reset program, because what I've noticed is when I'm working with clients, and I do it myself as well, for instance, like I've just joined quite a high level sort of mastermind, and my coach said to me before I joined, she said, you'll have to have a group program. And I was like, well, I've never really had a group program or thought about it, don't really feel very aligned with that. And she's like, you can't scale without doing this. And I don't know when was that? That was probably like in September, she said that to me. By October, I had a group program of 25 people sold out. That's quantum shifting, because what happens is there's like stages to the manifestation quantum cycle, if you like. So there's all your mental diets, there's like your thoughts and what you think about all the time. I think a lot of people understand that because we've all heard of affirmations and The Secret. There's also your frequency and your vibration, which is what we focus on a lot in our program, the one we're doing together as well, because that's how does it feel to be you every day. And then there's the intuitive actions that you're taking. And then it's how this fits in with like whatever you believe in, like your higher self, the universe, because you have to have that all-in energy. And I think that's what you was explaining at the beginning when you were saying a lot of people have a vision, but they don't actually speak it out and kind of admit what they really want because they're scared to fail. So in the reset program, for example, when we go around each week, we all have to state what we're going for. And yes, one of them has to be courageous and a bit out there. And then we're like, what out of our comfort zone goals can we take? So I guess the part of the reset is to work on your thoughts and anything that's kind of contradicting the goal that you're going towards. Work on how it feels to you, how it feels to be you on a daily basis, because we have a lot of tools how we can test this, because we can be numb to it ourselves. But what kind of happens is with your actions, when you take your actions, it's not really the actions you're taking, it's who you're being when you take the action. So for instance, if I'm working with someone who doesn't like sending like direct messages on LinkedIn, like that's kind of what we're taught, isn't it? Connect with people and then send the messages. And there's loads of people that do that and it doesn't work. Like hundreds. I've met so many. But yet when I do that, I can get 10, 15, 20k months. I can have £40,000 launches. And there's nothing different about me. There's not any unique script that I have that I know more than the next person. What happens is it's who I'm being when I'm doing it. So I know how to channel my frequency so that my high frequency goes into my messaging. Does that make sense? So I know some people don't understand frequency, but it's like, how am I feeling about myself? If I'm coming to my direct messages like, oh, it's never going to work, no one ever replies to me, like everyone's going to think I'm an ick. Um, I'm not going to be putting a good feeling into what I'm doing. Whereas because I know how to channel my frequency before I do certain tasks. So when I first started doing direct messaging, like I literally hated it. I thought it was the worst task in the world, to be honest. But my coach at the time was saying you have to do it, and
Yeah.
I learned to change my perspective, and I learned it to channel my frequency of how much I like it and how powerful it made me feel. And then through doing that, I mean, obviously Katie, she's also my social media manager, so she does a lot of my messaging for me. But there was a time when I was doing 4 hours a day of direct messaging people. And yes, it was making me have 10, 15k months. So it definitely works. And I didn't feel, even though it didn't feel like I was hustling, because I felt aligned, because I saw the evidence that it was working. And I had the
Yeah.
plan that I wouldn't do it for many months because I would outsource it. So I kind of had the plan, but it's who are you being when you're doing the daily sales activities that you need to do to grow the business?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
often we push the sales activities to the bottom of the list because we don't like doing them and how they make us feel. But
Yes.
literally, once you work on your identity, you're doing all of your activities from as a different person. So you'll feel differently about the activities. So like
Yeah.
if I said to you, if you messaged people, if you did your identity work and then you messaged people for 3 months consistently and you could make 10k, I think most people would do it. So it's more like
Yeah, I'm literally living and breathing this, because that is exactly what happened at the start of this year. Because I made the decision. I'd spent so long on LinkedIn, that was my primary place, doing comments, connecting with people, maybe not as regularly as I do now. But the one thing that I was missing was doing the DMs, because I really didn't want to. Like, really didn't want to. And I definitely didn't ever want to talk about an offer. Ooh, I was like, no. But that is sales. Like, not all sales will come from that. There is inbound, and yes, of course, people are going to come to you. More they've been in your network, more they've been nurtured by you, more they've warmed up and seen what you've got, definitely. But there is that with the DMs, is having that alignment, because when there is that alignment, that is when you can quantum leap. Like, and I know I know it. Like, it's one of those things that when you try to explain this to other people, nobody can quite get it in the same way that you can, because it's maybe it's not their intuition, and it's not how, like, they just go, oh, that's cool, but they don't necessarily see it. So, like, in the same way, the other day I messaged somebody about about the challenge that we're running, and how they'd gotten into this group. Because I was like, how the hell have they got in there? I have not invited them. I don't even have them as a friend on Facebook. I know who they are. And then when I look back on my messages, this person had messaged me back saying, I can hear the start of your message where I'm saying hello, and then the end of my message where I'm saying goodbye, but they can't hear the middle of a message. All of my sound had gone magically. Like, I don't know what had happened. I'd sent 7 or 8 other WhatsApp messages, and every voice note had gone fine. But the part where I'd questioned her how she'd got in the group had gone. And that is like spirit saying, don't ask them. Just, she needs to be in that group. It's divine timing. They're put there. And that's just amazing, because that is the alignment truly there. There is alignment between us and her at this current point where it's like she needs to be there. So don't start going, well, how? It's not all, like, as you told me, it's not necessarily about the how. Yes, there is a strategy, because of course we're going to invite people to the challenge. Of course we're going to send DMs about it. Of course we're going to do the natural actions that you would take, that any person in business should be doing. And I'm not saying that in a case of, no, you should be feeling happy or you should be doing, like, no, seriously, this is business. You do have to do these things. That's how you grow your business. It's how you get known. It's how you build your reputation, etc., etc. But yeah, it's mental. So alignment and the frequency definitely really counts. There is the natural blueprint side to it. So, like for example, it's really funny actually because I was thinking about this last night because it was the new moon, and I'm obviously quite a lot into the moon cycles and living by the moon cycles. And the new moon was in Libra, so obviously that's a big primary focus this month, and well, this lunar cycle, should I say? And my Libra is in house 3, which is all about communication, and it's really funny because that's not somewhere where I don't struggle to communicate. But I was saying this to you the other day, like what's in my head, I can't get it out my mouth. Sometimes it's like I don't know how to word things in a way that other people are going to understand. So it, like, even when it comes to the DMs on that point, that's then something that, yes, I go, okay, that's there. What can I do about that? And then dig deeper into it. And again, that's the same with your beliefs. If you believe that you can't do something, why can you not do it? Because if you believe you can't do it and you assume that you can't do it, you're never going to quantum leap in that area. And we're obviously specifically talking about business. But when it
And I
came
think
to
also
me,
if you're trying to take the action, but you deep down believe it's not going to work, that really
yeah,
impacts like the person you are when you take the action. And that's kind of where the identity work helps you, because it
mhm,
allows you to, like when I launched that group coaching, like I had no doubts it would not be a success. Like I knew I would get 25 people. I had 70 people live on the masterclass. I had 200 people register for it. I had about 70 people from Facebook, and I wasn't even on Facebook. Like I've just got
yeah,
my personal profile in there. I mean, I had a manifestation group maybe 2 years ago, which is dead. I don't use it. Um, but half the people that are in that group came from Facebook, so they came from somewhere. But
yeah,
there's there's nothing different that I'm doing. I'm literally just showing up. I'm doing all the tasks that I tell other people to do. But it's
yeah,
like I get asked a lot, how do I know if I'm not in alignment?
yes,
Like, how do I know? And the biggest way to know is have you got your goal? So are you
yeah,
living the goal that you want to live? So let's just say you're trying to get to like 10K months, because that's the number that we hear a lot. Is like, have you got 10K months? If you haven't, then you're not in alignment with something. If you have 10K months sometimes and then not other times, you're obviously part in alignment. Because we all have like an aura around us of what's available to us. And sometimes what we want is just outside of that aura, and we
yeah,
just have to work out how to get there. So obviously we have the logical mind where we have like our strategy, and we know if I do these sales activities, and obviously we're going to teach that in the Maverick Challenge, because we know the sales activities that work, because one, I've done it myself and built my business from it. Two, you teaching that, so you help your clients get that on day-to-day basis. So we know we have an absolute system that works. But what we found is, if you are following that strategy, but you don't have like inner belief. So sometimes you can have what you want, but you've got it through hard work. And sometimes you can feel that you're blocked and you haven't got what you want because you can't take the action. So you kind of have to look from both sides. So sometimes I might work with someone who's already quite far in business, but
yeah,
they don't really feel like happy that where they are. And sometimes I'll work with someone who's like, I know I'm amazing, but I can't seem to, do sales activities to get some clients. So
yeah,
when what you want is slightly outside of your aura, there's a few things you have to think about. One is, have you put what you want on a pedestal? So often, like we'll put what we want here and we're down here. So therefore, we're already not magnetically aligned because we already put this on the pedestal. So we have to find a way to bring them together. And we
yeah,
do that by one, bringing it down from the pedestal. So if you're putting what you want on a pedestal, you're never going to get to it. You have to know that you deserve that and you're already equal to that. So you have to up level yourself, which is where the reset work comes in, because you're resetting your identity on a soul level to know that you're deserving and worthy of that. And you're also taking that thing down from the pedestal. So like
yeah,
last week in the reset, we all like did some releasing work, and we all like chose a name for ourselves, and I was like the chosen one, and quite a few other people had the chosen one, and everyone had like all different names. And it's like, if
yeah,
you know that you are that, you're bringing it down off the pedestal, you're matching yourself to it, and that's how you can collapse the timeline to get it. It's the distance of bringing this together that makes you get it. And that's why
yes,
like I could launch that group program and fill it out within a month,
yeah,
and why other people are launching and get 2 people. It's just
yeah,
because they probably followed the strategy. And another thing with a lot of my clients, they're doing masterclasses and trying to, filling out their programs through that way as well. And one thing that always happens is if you haven't got it like this and you haven't got that true belief in yourself, you'll always give up closer to the launch date. So you'll be launching, but it's always in the last like week and then the last like 2, 3, 4 days, and on the day before when you'll get surges of people join. But by that time, most people have kind of already said, well, I wasn't really that bothered.
Yeah,
Um, and the universe only rewards 100% all in energy, which I think is what you were trying to say at the beginning.
yeah,
You can't be part in and part out. You can only be in or out. There's like no in
yeah,
between. It's like, are you 100% in or you're not in? Like that's what the universe sees. So it's like
yeah,
if part of you is a little bit out, like, oh, I'm gonna go for it, but I'm not really that bothered, I can try again next month kind of thing. You just won't get the reward of what you want. So that's why the frequency of your identity amplifies your strategy. So that's why you'll find, like, if you're in a group program, there'll always be 2 or 3 people that um, do really well and make 5, 10, 20K months quickly. And then 90% of people just aren't achieving what they want. And the missing piece is just always the identity and the frequency. Because when
yeah,
you put the two things together, which is why we've collaborated, um, for heart-led people who have missions, you will you will catapult your business when you electrify your frequency.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I found a really good thing for me to do was, so when I was sort of at my sort of lowest point in business, and I was making £300 a month, and the rest of it was coming from benefits. I wrote down who was I identifying as right then, and I know labels aren't good to a point, but they're also, we can understand them. I would say if you're going to call yourself a label, call yourself a positive label, and don't use your label to hold yourself back from something. That's when they generally work out in a bad way. So I was at that point, I was calling myself a LinkedIn, no, yeah, I think it was LinkedIn manager on Universal Credit. And then I wrote down who is the person that I want to be. And I think it was something like, it was quite long. It was like a self-made millionaire, chief cheerleader, and something else. I can't remember what the last bit said, but and then I added to that, and then I put and serial investor, and then I started to write down a list. What does that person who I want to be, what do they actually do? Like, what is it that they are doing day in, day out? What are they doing in the morning? What's their sleep routine look like? And then, so I'm like, okay, I want to be a serial investor. Right then, I need to invest in a course that's going to teach me about investing because I've got no idea. None. It's not my forte. So I invested in a course that is going to show, well, actually, 3 courses, all from the same person, but all at different levels. So there's a beginner, and then there's a stock picking, and then it goes into a more of a one-to-one section. And I'm like, I then need to do those things that person who I want to be is going to do. So I can, yes, it's not necessarily my reality right now. I'm not a millionaire right at this moment. In my reality, maybe on a different timeline, I'm definitely that person.
Yeah, you definitely are.
But it's about what can I do right now, and if, especially for the business tasks, especially for the sales tasks, because for most people that are going to be drawn to us, they are probably going to lack somewhat in that they will make excuses. I've been there making excuses about time. I don't have time to DM people. I don't have, and I woke up an hour earlier every morning to spend an hour on LinkedIn messaging people, because I was like, that is what the person is going to do who takes the action. So are you going to be the person who takes the action, or are you not? Yeah. Do you know what? Some mornings I woke up and I was like, oh, I don't want to be awake. I want to go back to bed. I did this in the middle of winter. So you're waking up cold in a fucking caravan. Like, I've got nowhere to move to. I had no table or anything. I was sitting in my bed in the dark while everybody else around me slept with a brand new puppy as well. Like, yes, do you know what? Things are hard sometimes, and we all have responsibilities. I home ed. I have 3 kids, all under the age of 9. I had to think about how old my kids are then. Like, yes, it's on the, when you look at it, people will go, oh gosh, yeah, that's tough. But I'm like, it's not tough. It's what I want. It's who I want to be. Like, this is, it's not a case of easy and hard. Like, they are coexisting at exactly the same time. And you've just, it's not about pushing through it. It's about aligning with the way you want to do it. But we also, at the same time, there is the strategy and there's the logical side of it. And you might not want to do things, but the only way you're going to maybe like doing them or even realize that you really don't like doing them is to do them. If you don't try, you are never going to know. Never going to know. So that's a little bit with the DMs. Just try it. Just send 5 of them. See how you feel. If you didn't die, then you can do it again tomorrow. Because you're definitely not going to die unless you have a pre-existing condition which maybe might kill you, but that won't be the DMs.
Yes. So I think like, but I think you just need to like come and join the challenge if you feel like your business is not where you want it to be, or you feel
Yeah.
like, even if you've done quite well in business, but I think deep down we just know when we're made for more. Like whatever level you're at, you'll know if you feel like my gifts and my skills and the transformations I give people, you're a genius at what you do, but you're just not seeing the results in your outer world. Because the thing is, the reset part of the program goes a lot deeper than just like your money and your business, because everything's entwined. So we zoom
Yeah.
out, and like if you think of like a pie chart and you had every area of your life and every person of your life, we are zooming out to look at every area, because the relationship you have across everything um kind of drives the results in your business. Because although this can be challenging to think about sometimes, the world that we have is the world that we've created. So if we were
Yeah.
to zoom out and look at a pie chart and we marked on the pie chart every area out of 10, with 10 being like the best it could be and 1 being the worst, and then let's just say half of it was number 1, so it was poor. If we looked at our world, we would probably have more of the things that weren't so good, because when we got areas that we're not happy with or we feel unhappy in, we tend to think about them things more, and we create more of what we don't want. So
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing when we work on the identity is we're kind of delusionally making everything become a 10 out of 10, even if it's not 10 in the reality yet. So even if like, I'm going to put a bit of a caveat in that we do take a little bit of a different angle if you don't have the minimum money you need. Like there's other ways you can get. We're kind of working on with a little bit above the minimum of what we need. So like when I'm having like the one-to-one calls with like the ladies from the reset program, our first thing is always, do we have the money we need to live? If we
Yeah.
don't, we take a slightly different action. But just saying we've kind of got the money we need, but sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't, but we're kind of managing. It's all about like zooming out to see there's going to be really strange areas that really impact our money. Like, for instance, if you're not getting on with your partner and you're arguing all the time, that affects your frequency. And there's no doubt
Mm-hmm.
about it, that will be impacting your business. And that's
Yeah.
why we need to look at every area, because we need to look using like the law of assumption. We look at every relationship we hold, which is people, money, things, business, everything, clients, sales. We have a relationship, like an energetic relationship with everything. And we need to understand what what level is that relationship at, because we need to get alignment across lots of different areas to bump up our business, because our frequency can be dragged down so easily by things outside of business as well. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why we kind of look on a holistic zoomed out picture, so we can understand, like sometimes somebody might be trying to get to 10k months and they don't even look at their business. They're looking at something outside of it, maybe their partner and their children, and then the byproduct of working on that in their identity brings
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah.
So that's why
100%.
that's sometimes why you can be doing all the strategy, but you're not getting the clients or the money that you envisioned or the impact that you want to make, because there's something else that's off.
It's
And it
always
honestly
more
doesn't,
than you.
yeah, and it doesn't actually take that long to find out. Well, in one session, you can find out the biggest areas that's holding you back quite easily once you follow like the process that works. And then it's just going about how easy is it for me to like correct this? Because obviously
Yeah.
sometimes when it's people, you can't always change a lot of things in a fast way. But there's lots of things that you can do that energetically stop things from affecting your frequency.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like such a super cool topic because it really does amplify the strategy that you're following.
Absolutely. It's really interesting as well, actually, because I know a lot of people that I speak to who are in sort of done for you roles. So they they would have the work outsourced to them. And when maybe things aren't going well, I'm like, okay, so there's your frequency that you're bringing into it. How do you actually feel about this client? So, when people say like, they don't like the person that they're working with, or they're really demanding or something, and I'm like, well, this is why they're like not going to get results, because they're putting that onto you. And well, you don't necessarily have to take that on board, because you can work past that, but a lot of people will take that on, and then the frequency drops down. So especially, I mean, it's really important across the board, but especially if you're charging other people and then doing the work for them, that you're then putting a very high frequency into that. Otherwise, they're not going to see the results that they could have. I think there's part of it that's their frequency as well, because it's their business and obviously what they are offering to people and stuff. But yeah, if you're coming into it in like a bad, low place, well, then you're not going to see the results for them. You're not, let alone for yourself. So yeah, I'd be
Also,
interested.
I was just going to say, you get to choose the clients that you attract, is the other
Exactly.
side. Like, for instance, with the group coaching program, when I filled it with 25 people, like, how did I get magnetically fully aligned 25 people?
Yeah.
Because my frequency is magnetic. So, like,
Yeah.
I can go to a networking event and probably pretty much always get a client. Not even trying to sell or do anything. I'm just authentically being me. Like, my electro field is charged. So,
Yeah.
therefore, the right people are magnetized to me. So, that's how I sell from the DMs, because when I get on a call with someone, probably 99% of people work with me. And that's because by the time they're there, we're already frequency aligned. Like, it's just like we've always known each other. It's like most people will work with me, and that there's nothing special about me. I just know that I'm magnetically charged. So, and it's
Yes.
not even about a niche, because to be honest, I don't even have a niche. Like, you'll know, I'm probably like, if you looked at me as an ideal client, I'm probably the worst person in terms of like my niche and who I serve. I'm like, when I do mindset, I serve every person under the sun, basically. Like, I work with fibromyalgia, I work with depression, anxiety, imposter syndrome, money blocks. I'm a bit of a nightmare. Like, I work with everyone, and that doesn't matter so much when you're selling in direct messages anyway. I mean, I have like one topic that I talk about on my profile more in my content, but in reality, like, I work with lots of different things. So you
Yeah.
could say on paper, I'm the worst type client to work with, because I don't have a niche. I don't know who I serve. I help everyone. But then it doesn't matter, because if you're magnetic and your frequency is charged, you're going to
Yeah.
attract the people that align to you. So therefore, it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter whether it's imposter
Yeah.
syndrome or money or depression,
Absolutely.
because yeah, so it's like, yes, it's important to have strategy things there, but there's no point in, like, even a lady I had a call with yesterday. Honestly, she knows how to do Facebook ads. She's got like a whole CRM, ClickFunnels, everything set up. So basically, in terms of like coaching someone out, she knows everything, but she's like, but it's still not working.
Yeah.
But then during the call, I sort of relayed back like probably 10 limiting things she had said. I was like, and then she's like, yeah, I can see why it's not working, because I'm literally doing the actions from the place of like
Yeah.
not believing it's going to work.
Yeah.
So therefore, and what happens is when you believe that, you're not connected to your intuition. So what happens is your heart, your soul, your intuition, they need to be aligned with the goals that you're going for. So for instance, some people call it intuition, some people call it like a download. It's however you feel, but it's basically just like a wisdom that comes to you from outside of you. So for
Mhm.
instance, I thought, how am I going to launch a group coaching program? Like, I've never thought about it before. I've only really had one-to-one clients. I did about 2 years ago. I did a beta group coaching for a qualification. I didn't really like it, so I didn't feel that aligned to it. Then my coach said to me, "Well, you can't join this mastermind unless you want to do a group coaching. So goodbye. I'll have a think about it. 2 days later, through meditation and other things I teach in the Reset program, not thinking that I'm teaching it, just naturally doing it because it's what I do every day.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. The whole course, I call it downloaded, but it's whatever you call it. It was like you literally have the whole course because you've given it to your one-to-one clients for the last 2 years. You even have it in videos, in PDFs. You literally have it already. So I was like, oh my God, I actually have the whole course. And it's like it was just like, just record these 3 things and then you've got everything you need. So then I was like, right. So then I said to you the next day, right, we're launching the course, and you were like, what? Like, it's the first thing I've learned about it, and it's like we're doing this in 2 weeks' time. We need to ring the people. Let's go, because they was already there. But I think that's because I'm connected. So when you're not connected, you don't get the intuitive information. So it's really hard to explain. But it's like the other day I was running on the treadmill. And because I have a quiz that you can take that kind of is, I guess it's a lead magnet. And by the way, when I first got to like 10, 15K months and had big launches, I had no lead magnets, no CRM. I just worked off an Excel. I mean, when I first started working with you, you were like, where's your lead magnets? And I was like, well, kind of got a bit of a mismatched document, but I've never used them because, again, that's strategy, but you don't need it to make money. It just makes things easier when you get busier and you want to outsource things. So I've got this quiz, which I didn't really think of it as a lead magnet. I used it more to help my clients to which program would be the best fit for them. So I was running on the treadmill and I got this like intuitive message that was like, you need to go and post your quiz on Facebook. And I remember just thinking to myself, look, but right now, because I'm like halfway through like a run with sweat and everything pouring off me. And the message was so strong. I thought, right, I better go and post it. So I just quickly went to Facebook, posted the quiz. I think it was just on my own profile. Went back on the treadmill, didn't think of it. The next day, I had like, I don't remember the exact number, but between 15, at least 15 people, bing, 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 taking the quiz. It was just so bizarre. And that's been like that's kind of like a normal thing once you get connected. Like suddenly you'll get a message of like, go and message that person right now. And you'll think, what, right now? So abundance moves at a very fast speed. So I teach a lot about abundance, and abundance moves very fast. You know, like we say, like sound moves really fast. Or abundance moves really fast. So the abundance you want is there, but you as a human, you're not moving at the same speed as the abundance because you don't believe in yourself enough to take the speed. So when you get an intuitive download of what you should be doing, most people aren't reacting to that. So like if my intuition tells me to do something, or someone plants an idea like my coach, you can bet your ass the next day I will be meditating on that or what the processes I do, and I will know what I need to do to make that happen. And so it's how fast do you take the intuitive action? But if you're not connected, you're kind of taking action hustle. So then you'll be like, oh my God, it's not working. Then you'll buy another course. And then you'll think, well, I'll try the 10 things that person tells me. And there's nothing wrong with those 10 things. They probably work. But it's like it's the intuitive things in between that probably would have 10x your results. Like the one person you didn't reach out to because you couldn't bother to do it that day. But if you're connected, you hear like other information that makes your journey quicker. So, you know, going back to that part of the 4-part circle, which is your thoughts and your identity, because your thoughts create your identity, but and vice versa. Your thoughts create how you feel about yourself. That's the part we don't tap into very often. But it's like, how does it dominantly feel to be me? Then there's your intuition and your aligned action. Well, how do you know the aligned action? Like, you know the strategy and the logic you're following because most people have got a business coach or they've bought a program, so they know what they need to do. But it's like, where's the intuitive bits in between that kind of amplify the strategy? And then are you 100% all in? You need all 4 things to amplify your strategy, if that makes sense. And if you haven't got the goal that you want, or you feel like you've got it, but you're working in a way that you don't like, one of those things or multiple of those things are going to be out of sync.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because I was just thinking about, so I was thinking firstly about your ideal client and how like you don't think that there'll be many people who will say, oh, I haven't got a niche. I mean, if you're a coach, your niche tends to be the people, the person that you were before, who then needs the help which you've been through. You've embodied that, so then you can help them. but it's massively, and we've talked about this, about people who you're just energetically connected to. They might not necessarily fit the mold. They might not necessarily have a label on in terms of a certain job title, or to have been in business for so long, because everybody is on a different journey. So somebody could have been in business for 10 years but never have got past the 2k mark, and so it's complete, it's just who yes, I always talk about having some sort of an ideal client. You could have multiple ideal clients. It depends again how far along you are in your journey.
I think your logic mind needs it. Your logical mind needs to think you've got one.
Yeah, 100%, because you have to, like, even when you're on LinkedIn, just for example, this could be for any social media, but if you are like seeking out particular people, LinkedIn primarily, because you obviously people connect and then do the messages, which you do it on other platforms, but not to the same extent of how you would do it on LinkedIn. So it's good to know. And then when people are coming inbound as well, because if you're saying like anyone and then anyone connects with you, like they could be in, like, I don't know, if you could be helping people who are self-employed and then you get someone who's in corporate connecting with you and you're thinking, what, well, why? Like, what do you need? But then also at that point, and this really goes with those people who, like, I would say me and you, we're probably very, very, well, not probably, definitely very connected to spirit in the way of downloads, in the way of knowing stuff. I obviously have my tarot cards and I do tarot readings. Whenever I feel a little bit of uncertainty and I'm like, oh God, I don't have clarity around this, I just go to the tarot and I pull a few cards and then I will walk away and I go, okay, I know what I'm doing now. So that can be my thing. Obviously not everybody does tarot and a lot of people wouldn't understand what the cards mean, but even just look, if you're a person who maybe doesn't go on TikTok regularly, for example. So for me, I'm on TikTok. I never consume content on TikTok, like very, very rarely.
That's another thing you did. You got 10k followers.
I did in 2 months, was it 2 or 3 months?
You set the intention, and then within a couple of months, you're like, I'm at 10k followers. So I was like,
yeah, I'm monetized, baby.
But I think more important than the niche. You can have a niche, but I think what blocks people from attracting the right people, which is the codes that I have. So codes are like affirmations, if you like. They're my internal codes that sit within my DNA, so within me. So it's unwavering, because once it's coded in, it's unwavering. So for me, it's like the niche doesn't matter, because the person I call in is the person that's ready.
Yes.
So if you have a niche, but you have a belief that, well, I always call in people that can't afford me, or no one has any money, or like my program's too expensive. Whereas I'm like, no, my unwavering belief, my program's this, my content, my frequency, if you like, hits the person that knows they need to work with me. Like that's literally my beliefs. So it's like my program is the only program they need, but my frequency attracts the right person. So that's why you need to upgrade your identity, because it doesn't really matter the niche you hold. You've just explained from working with all the people, you can have a wide niche, but it's like that person might not be earning enough money to afford you. Just because you filtered on 6 to 10 years in LinkedIn Sales Navigator doesn't mean you're going to get the right person. Your frequency charges the right person. That's why when I get people to a sales call, they're ready to invest.
Yeah.
Because it's so, yes, it's nice to niche, but it's like, have you niched, but then maybe you've got a lot of beliefs that no one can afford it. No one wants to buy with you. So you can bet your dollar that when you first have like a one-to-one call with me, it's going to be double your prices. It's going to be the first thing that I say, because you've only got cheap prices because you don't believe people are going to buy it.
Yeah.
But then how can I sell like programs between 6 to 10,000 when you're telling me that no one's buying? Because I know they are, because I've just sold 2. So it's like, can you see? It's like your assumptions and your beliefs that you're recreating the same people that you're attracting. So that's why you need to get your identity nailed down, because there are people that are spending money, there are people that are buying, there are people that can afford, there's people that are ready, there's probably millions of people that are ready. You're just on cycle attracting the people that aren't ready. because you attract what you believe to be true. So therefore, if you come on a call with me and you tell me 10 things about your ideal client, and like, so now tell me the last 4 people you had a sales call with, they'll just literally describe the people they just told me about. And
Yeah.
I'm like, but I don't have assumptions that them people exist. I have assumptions that the right people find me, the right people are ready. So I don't really speak those negative words about clients or potential clients. But you won't very often hear me feeling that negative, because
Yeah.
I've gone through that, and I have like a strong inner belief of what's possible for me and who I attract. So it's kind of like, if you up level that, the niche is not so important, because you're going to attract the right person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say as well, like a niche, or a niche ideal client can be limited in itself, because if you're saying like, I'm only going to go for these people, which is, it's fine. It's like there are plenty of pros to it, but there's also the negative side of going, well, actually, like maybe it's you limiting yourself, saying I need to go for these people, because you're then making the assumption that those people need your service, when actually could be multiple people who need your service. And why would you limit yourself in the fact of that? And then it's we talk about, like, we we always set together like a sort of normal limit, for lack of a better word, like what you could expect, and then just this completely delusional but absolutely achievable, because anything is achievable. Like, absolutely anything is achievable, and it is not dependent on your circumstances, nothing like that. That's all dependent on the frequency and your identity that you're going to bring into it. I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, so like a lot of people who maybe don't feel like they are connected to spirit, like, and they don't feel like they get these downloads. Like, I always find, so obviously I'll go to my tarot cards normally if I don't feel in tune with spirit. And this could be for a multitude of reasons. It could be you might have worked and then not done something to lift your frequency again, because obviously your frequency is sort of changeable based upon events that can happen, especially things that might even trigger you. Like, I don't know, it could be like the kids falling over and like really hurting themselves. Like, there's just so many different things. So then sometimes you just can't hear it then. But if then, like, it's open, like opening TikTok is a great example, because sometimes this is what I do. And I find that, but I follow a lot of people on TikTok who will be sort of manifestation coaches, or who will be something like that. But the top video that I see will always be the video that I needed to see, and it will always be relevant. So if you don't feel like you are connected to spirit, go and find somebody else who is connected to spirit, whether they read tarot, whether they have dowsing crystals, whatever it is that they have a connection to spirit, follow them, because they might give you the message that spirit is trying to send to you, but it can't come through because it's blocked in some way. And a lot of people are obviously blocked from spirit because the normal reality we live in, it's not very, they don't really put spirit as a sort of main thing, and they teach you all about it. Like, obviously we had the connection when we were born, but it does get lost over time. It is absolutely still there. So it's not a case of you can't do it. It's just a case of you've got to put yourself into that position where you can hear it. And then that's working on the frequency. That's working on
Also,
meditation.
a lot of people don't relate to the word spirit. Like, there's a lot of
Yeah.
different ways of thinking. Like, I am quite spiritually open, but I'm not majorly necessarily spiritual. But I would say that, like, the way I probably explain it more, because sometimes I'll get, if I'm working with healers and light workers, like I work with a lot of hypnotherapists and counselors and
Mm.
therapists, and obviously they are a bit more spiritually awoken. But there's a lot of people, like, there's a lot of science behind. So, for
Yeah.
instance,
Very
this
much
thing that we're
science.
calling the download, or however you refer to it, you call it spirit more. I call it more download or intuition. But it's like, there's science behind that. Because, for instance, like when I was on the call with a client and she was like, she used to be a dancer when she was young, and she was like, oh yeah, I've thought for years about going back into dancing. So one of her sole activities was to go and find like a dance studio. Now, within probably 30 seconds of finishing the call with me, she sent me a screenshot of Instagram, which she never goes on, and there's a dance school within like a walking distance to a house that she'd not really thought about or doesn't even know if she's seen it, and that appeared on Instagram. So you might call it spirit, I might call it intuition, but it's also science, because
Yeah.
the part of our brain, the RAS system, it filters in the information from the outside world, and scientifically they know it filters it in based on our thoughts and beliefs.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're having a conversation of like, no one has any money, and that's your dominant conversation with certain people, what do you think it's filtering in? But as
Yeah.
soon as she started thinking, like, I was having a conversation with a client the other day, different one, and he was like, right, I want to be on like a non-executive director board. And obviously telling me more the negative things around that, why it never happened. So then we turned it into a positive conversation, because obviously I'm a positive person. So I'm like, well, yeah, that happens to me. I had a consultancy, I got the exact money I wanted, the exact jobs and clients, everything. So obviously changing his perspective, because once you're with someone who's done it, you open up to that being possible for you. Then he messages me 2 days later. He'd been invited to 3 executive director positions. Now, part of that is because his brain, this part that filters it in from the outside world, used to filter it away because it
Yeah.
didn't know that he wanted that information. It was literally always there. There's nothing we did in that particular moment. It was just that he didn't see the possibilities. So his brain was narrow tunnel vision. And
Yeah.
you think that's not that important, but it is, because your brain literally filters opportunities to you based on this narrow thinking. So if
Yeah.
you have a bigger thinking and you've wizened your lens, you will suddenly get a flood of different ideas. So something might say to you, like, you might see this, a Facebook group might appear, it might appear, it might appear, and then you're like, what is that telling me? Whether that's spirit or you just intuitively connect that I need to post in there. And it's like that Facebook group hasn't just emerged, it was probably always existing. You just never had
Yeah.
the possibility. You didn't open your mindset to other ideas because you tried to control the how. So you might be thinking, like, to get this non-executive director, I have to write my CV. I have to send my CV to agencies. Like, you're limiting the how. So your brain is only functioning
Yeah.
in that direction. But as soon as I said, what about if it can come from this, from this, from this, from this, and then all of a sudden he's open to like every possibility. And now it's like I think he got an email that he replied to that he said, like, I would have just put that to junk. I wouldn't even opened it in the past. Suddenly he's clicking on it, suddenly he's presenting a thing and then getting a position. It's like that's how it happens. So a lot of my clients
Yeah.
believe in God, like their download is God. It doesn't matter what it is. The fact is it's backed in science
Yeah.
from your brain.
Yeah.
So irrelevant to what it
Absolutely.
is, if you're not getting your goals, you are narrow thinking and you are um trying to plan out how you're gonna get it. Like, when I wanted to do this group
Yeah.
program, I was a little bit in my mind that thought, how am I gonna find 25 people to build this group? Like, I know I've got 10,000 followers, so you think it'd be easy, but I don't get a lot of interaction from my content. I've always sold through direct messaging and through networking and key speeches and things like that. But I didn't really think about the how. I just thought, well, I've seen that person do it, that person's done it, that person's done it. So my mind was really open. Whereas I think if
Yeah.
I'd said, like, I can only get that by this route, it would have really narrowed my chances, because my mindset was open. And also after we did the masterclass where we got the original 70 people, the next day I got this like download intuitive to be like, you need to give this masterclass to these so and so type of healers, which I was
Yeah.
actually in a group with them healers. I'd never thought about it before. It just came to me. I posted it, and then that's how I got another 70.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
because my mindset wasn't, I'm only going to get this from like my LinkedIn DMs. My mind was just always open to the possibilities. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that makes like a really big difference. So we've been nearly an hour, so I guess we should, because we can talk forever. That's what this is a good thing is we'll
I'm literally sat here like writing stuff down, so I'm like, come on then, I can carry on talking.
So we're going to do another one, aren't we? So we're trying to base
Yeah.
it on like the questions that we get asked,
Yes.
which is usually, how do I grow my business, get more clients and make more money, but still stay aligned to like my mission and my vision? Because we work with like healers and heart-led entrepreneurs. You don't have to be in like we've worked with like social media managers, anybody. If you're have a mission that you want to get out into the world.
Yeah.
So our kind of ethos is like, how can we get your mission and what you're here to do out into the world? But we're also realistic that we need money to do that. So we need the basic money to live and not be in scarcity. Then we also need like, how can we get our mission into the world? Like, how would I grow my business if I couldn't employ Katie, if I couldn't have a VA, if I can't do Facebook ads? How you can't grow like very easily. So you need money to invest and grow. And it's being okay with that and like speaking that out loud. And it's okay to want to be like a millionaire and want to earn a lot of money. It doesn't make you a bad person or make your mission any less. Like I still do pro bono, I still do a lot of discounted sessions, free sessions as well sometimes. So it doesn't make you bad to want more money. And it doesn't mean if you want more money, you have to work harder. I often see like, well, I'm kind of happy staying at my 2K a month because I don't really want to put the effort in to get to 10K. But to be honest, it's easier to sell high ticket packages and get to a higher amount of money than it is to try and sell low ticket things or a £1,000 product. You find that if you worked on your identity, you could sell a £5,000 ticket a month, which is often more money than most people need to live on. So it's not as difficult if you think. It's only difficult because you're limiting what you think is true. But once you're
Yeah.
around people that are doing it, it really expands like that thinking again and really helps you. So if you have any questions, basically drop us a DM or message us or come and join our Facebook group, where we'll do polls and stuff to find out what people want. And that's what we'll try and do the topics on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also if you want to join the challenge, let us know. It's free.
Yeah. So next week we'll sort of be, well, who knows what we'll be talking about, because I think we've gone a little bit off topic, but it's fine. It's fine. We're staying with the flow. But next week we're going to be really talking about sort of the self-sabotage and the reasons why people either they don't have clients, high ticket clients, or if they've got high ticket clients, they maybe don't feel aligned with those clients. Or just even a business overall, not necessarily just talking about clients, just talking about business overall. Yeah, so that'll be an interesting one. Maybe we'll go for 2 hours.
I think that will cover probably like imposter syndrome kind of topics, because I get a lot of questions from people on imposter syndrome, and obviously that feeds into self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And heart-led people are often like empaths and people pleasers as well. So they will over-deliver to their clients.
This is everything that Kathy is saying, right, is me last year.
Told you.
So this is how quickly things can change, because we are now going to launch a package which is a 4-figure package, like things, and going into a cafe, like got the manifested the clients. This is the quantum leaping literally in play. My whole year has just been a year of quantum leaps. My partner is like, I can't fucking keep up. Like, seriously, Kate. I'm like, just go with it. Go with it, trust in it.
Just
Because
trust,
it does feel a little bit like, oh my God, like it can be a bit like mental, because you're like, last year this year this. What? Someone explain this, because in logical terms, it doesn't make sense. But you just got to trust it. You just go with it. And it's an absolute joy when you see all these things in your life and you think, I've been waiting for these things to happen, but then I decided to stop fucking waiting and start taking the action, and look what happens. Like, taking the action, embodying who you truly want to be, and ta-da, I am the angel.
Right. So message us, either one of us, if you want to join our Facebook group, or if you want to join the challenge, or you want to join both. Like, we'd love to have you there. We're doing the launch party on the 10th and the challenge is on the 11th, but there will be replays for a short amount of time. So we're going to be covering everything heart-led strategy and identity, and going deeper into self-concept and how to build a business in the easiest way. And we don't mean as in like not doing the tasks, we mean as in it feeling easy.
Yeah, being aligned with who you really are and how you want to do things, but also not limiting yourself in that, because a lot of people will still go, oh, but I don't want to be unethical, or salesy is a big one, and it's not about, like, those things are negative. That's a negative label again that you're putting on yourself. You don't realize that you're doing it, but I've done it.
I think I'm one
So
of the only people that love I think I'm one of the only people that love selling.
do you know what? I had this conversation with somebody a few minutes ago, because I was like, I absolutely love DMs. Like, I love them. But I think it's because and I said to somebody, it's the mindset that you, like what we've spoken about, the mindset and what you're taking into the DMs. If you're going in with the assumption that, hey, I'm here to sell, well, if you are not sure if you're like okay with selling, like if you feel a little bit like, oh God, like, which I think a lot of people are like that. It's particularly when you come from a business corporate into being self-employed, because it's such a drastic change. I completely forgot what I was going to say then. So that means
Well,
that
that
I
was
shouldn't have
me
said it.
because
So,
I came from corporate, so I had to leave a big, like, finance identity behind to,
yeah,
yeah, go into selling. But I think once you're 'cause you don't have to have the belief before you take the action. You just have to have enough conviction in yourself to take the
yes,
action, because once you take action, you'll end up with the evidence of the belief. So therefore, like, yeah, it's obvious
absolutely.
that selling is gonna be fun for me now because I always convert my clients and I find it really easy. But it's like I
And
didn't always do that, but I still always felt confident with selling. Because
yeah,
you never, if you're waiting to get the evidence, you're never gonna get it because you're not gonna get the
yeah,
evidence unless you take the action, if that makes
yeah,
sense. So you can kind of
absolutely.
just go in a cycle. But
Yeah,
there's very
massive.
big people, there's people that make like 10, 15, 20K months and they've like lost so much money because they can't convert people.
Yeah,
Even though they're earning a lot, their potential has still been it's still taking a hit on their potential because little things within their identity holds them back. So again, it doesn't really matter the level you are. Um, it's more about like, are you growing in the way that you want? Is your mission getting out into the world? Are you making the impact you want?
yeah,
And are you truly like allowing yourself to dream for the mission that you want?
yeah.
Okay, let's
Cool.
end before we start chatting
Yeah,
again.
yeah. We'll go on to another topic now.
Yeah. All
Cool.
right, see you later. Bye.
Bye.